What up, nation? Welcome to 2020 opening day at the Wise Take Nation for Major League Baseball. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. For many of you, it's been a while, long time no talk. For some of you, we've kept in contact in the Slack and continued our pursuit of DFS domination and alternate type sports such as esports, League of Legends, which is a sport that has kind of grown on me. NASCAR, I think everybody's improved a little bit on NASCAR. Shout out to Tommy Shake and Bake, who's had a pretty good NASCAR season so far and has done really, really well with that. And shout out to the golf guys, man. Shockey and Brew have been keeping everybody rolling in the DFS game with their PGA advice. Nate was off this week, Brew. They'll be busy once again. Hockey starting up soon. We will continue to have NHL articles at wisestake.com. And we're back. NBA starts next week. It's a very, very exciting time to be playing DFS. Hopefully this period where some of us just didn't play, some of us learned how to play these other sports, and some of us just, had shit going on or whatever due to the COVID situation or whatever the case may be. Hopefully this is a restart of some degree for everyone. Some of you maybe didn't play and spent some time trying to improve your game or whatever the case is. That's up to you. It's up to you and what your goals are and how far you're willing to go. I know that those who were subscribed to the Wise Take Nation before had a very winning-centric mentality. On bad days, they would just analyze where they think they went wrong, how they can improve. At some point, you can make an argument that in the beginning while you're learning that, a losing day doesn't have to be as bad as it seems. Now, obviously, if you're playing above your head, bankroll-wise, it's going to sting more than it should. But at the very least, if a day that you did poorly in is a day that you should be able to go back and find plenty of mistakes or at least consider your strategy. And just because you lose doesn't mean you made a mistake, right? There are some times where you have a process in mind that normally works for you that you're comfortable with, and there's going to be some days where things just didn't go your way. There is a lot of variance, a lot of luck involved, right? That stuff exists. But you still look back and check, was my process right? Did I make the right decisions, right? So a losing day doesn't have to be a complete loss, is basically what I'm trying to say. Shout out to those of you who are joining me. It is currently 11 a.m. Eastern. And we're going to do a live stream later at about 6 p.m. Paulie D is going to hop on with me, and we're going to chop it up. The content delivery is going to be a little bit different for this reboot. For those subscribed to wisestake.com, and I will discuss briefly on this 2-game slate of opening day. Let's be real, it's a 2-game slate. Tomorrow is really opening day, but I wanted to kind of put something out, and maybe it's better we do it on a smaller slate where I'm not as busy, and kind of show those of you who are subscribed some of the new tools that I've been working on during this break. I know for me personally, in addition to learning new sports and providing KBO content and everything else we were doing, I was keeping busy trying to see how I can improve our existing products. And those of you that have been here with us since the beginning, you guys know that I'm always looking to improve our product in any way that's going to help our members. And honestly, for the break, while financially it was tough. We obviously didn't charge for the first few months or whatever of the pandemic and just kind of let things at bay. Again, didn't want it to be a complete loss. So I went and I took that time that I don't normally have during the grind of the regular seasons, and I tried to implement things that time wisely, if you will, into our content and how we can improve our product. Todd, what's going on, man? I see you, man. I know Todd's been itching. Todd's been waiting. He's been waiting for MLB. So we're gonna touch on the slate. What up, Aaron? I see you, man. Yeah, Aaron says he's been waiting for this. We all have, man. Trust me. I think we all have, man. And it's gonna be even better next week when we get a little bit of NBA action. It's gonna be nice, man, because not just you get the playoffs, and in the beginning, the NBA playoffs are good. But we're also going to get 2 weeks of regular season NBA, which is basically playoff competition because they're all playing for playoff seeding. So hopefully we can maximize this time, make the most of it with all the sports that we have currently to make up for some of the downtime that we didn't have, right? I'm looking to do it. Okay, so we're going to get into the first of all. Real quick, Travis Long, aka TJ Nookie at the Wise Take Nation. Awesome, man. I mean, he's been winning in League of Legends like every day. I don't know, the last like 3-4 days or whatever, I'm seeing screenshots from him in the Slack chat. He's just winning. He's just using the cheat sheets and just winning. I haven't even been playing League of Legends because I've been setting up so hard for everything else. And KBO has been canceled 2 days straight, so I have just been working, trying to get this ready by today. But shout out to you, man. He keeps grinding. He keeps finding ways to do his thing. And he's making money, man. I noticed. I see a lot of you have already hit that like button. I appreciate y'all because y'all know the drill, because y'all remember. And anytime we're on YouTube, which we like to be on YouTube, we like to provide free content in addition to the content we provide at the Wise Take Nation at wisetake.com. But in order for us to justify doing the free content, we just need some love. That's it. That's all we're asking for, is a little bit of love. At a time like this, where there's a lot of turmoil, we need love. So hit that like button if you haven't already, because it helps us out. It goes a long way and allows us to continue to do that dirty on that YouTube. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. We do all kinds of free content. Like I said, the actual slate breakdown will be later, about 6 p.m. Eastern, myself and Paulie D. And I guess relative to the content, since we're discussing some of the content anyway, during the overlap of NBA and MLB, the show is going to be a little spaced out. I'm not doing the early look shows for either sport. Obviously, the NBA, I'm anticipating an earlier lock time. But we will have an NBA stream and an MLB stream, and there's going to be a lot of solo shows like this where we kind of show visuals and go through it just to kind of get through that period. And then we plan on going back to them 2-man shows and reaching out to some of our guys and getting them back in here, and again, continuing to do that dirty on YouTube and in the entire internet, but mainly the DFS industry, because that's what we're looking to do. Okay, so this is wisetake.com for anybody who doesn't know. There's the homepage, not that important. I just wanted to show you the navigation real quick. We have the MLB section up. You will see the MLB section here, and what I've been doing is taking content that's normally on a page and converting it into a post. This way this kind of as a reminder to people that they're there. There will be an MLB section here once we start posting some content. I haven't posted the post versions. of the MLB tools, but the pages are already set up. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys how to navigate this a little bit. So obviously you'll see everything here. You got recent posts that continue off this here for all the different sports, and you can scroll through. But if you want to go to the MLB section, this is one way. On a computer, this is a little easier. On the phone, you have this option. You just have to actually click the little arrow, and sometimes people just can't get it. I get it. It's tiny, man. Our thumbs are big. The arrows are tiny. But if you do that, this menu will open up. If not, it's okay if you click on the MLB link. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But for those of you who are on the computer, you can just get to whatever you got to get to here. We've got strategy stuff, articles, pitcher stat sheet, hitter stat sheet, which are 2 of the new things we added. Projections, which I'll show you guys how to use and explain. The cheat sheets, which are not necessarily new, but the format of them are new. Very similar to NBA, where it's automated off the projections. They update as the lineups come in, all that kind of stuff to make sure that it's efficient as possible. Stack rankings is something that we kind of discovered over with the KBO and League of Legends stuff. Any sport that has a stack feature, I plan on doing this for, as long as we have projections for them. Obviously, we've got some bullpen stats. All the data is kind of old, so we'll update the data as we get some 2020 stuff, but it's all 2019, which we're going to be using for the first few weeks anyway, at least, if not more than that, on a 60-game season. So again, we will talk some baseball DFS. I just want to show some of you guys what's new around here. So if you do click on the NBA, whether you're on the phone, on a computer, MLB, you could just do this. It takes you to the MLB section homepage, right? Where you can see any articles or any posts at all. It will be in the center, but you have the menu right here. So that's easier for you to get to what you got to get to. Remember, just because you don't see it posted as a post, that just means I haven't finalized the updates yet, but a lot of times I'll update things fairly early, and you can actually go to the page itself, whether it's the projections, the hitter stat sheet, pitcher stat sheet, all that kind of shit, and access what you want to access. With that said, I've already got some of this stuff pulled up. I've got the MLB pitcher stat sheet right here. So as you can see, we've got a table. This is all about stats. I don't have any projections in here. I have pricing, but this is all about stats for those of you who want to double check some things that you hear other people say, or just see things for yourself, see numbers for yourself. If you want to come here and make your own educated decisions, a lot of times there are some people out there who just want to hear. They don't have the time to do the research, or they just kind of want to hear the tidbits, make their own quick notes, and then do their thing. And that's fine. We're always going to do that with shows. We're going to have articles, all that kind of stuff, cheat sheets for that specific purpose. But some people want to have a little more of an explanation that leads them to a conclusion. And for those people, why not make your own conclusion based off the numbers? So as you can see here, we got Garrett Cole. We've got the average. Now, again, this data is 2019 data. So if you notice for Johnny Cueto, under K percentage against lefties, it's blank. We didn't have any data on that because he didn't pitch much last year. So as we get some stats for 2020, we'll kind of merge. I'm not going to abandon the 2019 stats because we only have a 60-game season, which really is a small sample when you consider they normally play over 160. It was 162 or so. So yeah, that's the gist of it. So if you don't see anything there, it's because we don't have the data on it. And again, I'm going to try to see if I can incorporate some sort of rolling number into this where we include 2019 stats and just kind of add on the 2020 as they go. But either way, we'll take care of that shit. We'll make sure that you guys have what you need to succeed. Looking at the numbers, we've got the DraftKings price, the FanDuel price. Everything is color coded. Now, the color coding isn't necessarily ranking. As you can see, it's not ranking it on this slate. The color coding is about based off what we think the average is or the league average is of a certain number, right? For innings pitched per game, this is obviously important for FanDuel where the quality starts comes into play. You'll see that Cueto only 4, so that's a red, right? It's not good, right? 6, pretty good because we get the 6, we get the quality start, right? Pretty simple. We've got their ERA, their FIP, their XFIP. We got the WHIP, K percentage. We have some split data. What's their K percentage against lefties, K percentage against righties? That's important because you'll see sometimes teams will go extra right-handed, extra left-handed to try to get a platoon advantage, or sometimes teams are banged up and they have no choice but to play all righties or whatever the case is. So it's kind of good to know how these pitchers fare against a specific hand in those situations. So we have that data split. We even have it for strikeout to walk ratio as well. You can see, for instance, that Max Scherzer, his strikeout to walk ratio against righties is insane. Against lefties, it's still good. It's just not insane. Against righties, insane. Garrett Cole also has a higher strikeout to walk ratio against righties. So you can use these things to your advantage. Even WOBA, we have split. How are they against lefties? How are they against righties? You can see Scherzer, again, just much more dominant against righties. A 223 WOBA compared to a 321 WOBA. Well, not that 321 is terrible, but 223 is elite. We have hard contact metrics. We're going to incorporate for pitchers their hard contact metrics over the last 30 days. The reason I'd like to do that is because, and you can see one thing to notice here that as far as hard contact goes, looks like except for Garrett Cole, all these guys have high hard contact rates at least last season, which is normal. It's nothing. Through the strategy stuff, through hearing us and talking to people in the Slack chat, which we got to get going again. I got to do a better job of being in that Slack chat. It's not that I don't want to be in a bullshitting with y'all and working. It's just you guys see everything we do, everything that's on this site I do. So the projections, all that kind of stuff, I do all. So that on top of doing the content of streams, setting up for the streams, doing all the things. So sometimes I don't have as much time to actually be in the Slack as much as I want to, but I'm going to make an effort. Me and Paulie both are going to make an effort to be in the Slack a little bit more and communicate with you guys, especially because we have so many things going on. And with NBA, you're going to have games starting at different times, which is pretty big. So anyway, we've got ground ball rates. Okay, I almost lost my train of thought. Where I was going with the last 30 days, so this is for the pitchers so you can see whose hard contact rates have been maybe extremely high or extremely low over the last month, and get an idea basically of who's hot, who's not kind of thing. We've got the fly ball rates. We have the opponent's information. So as of right now, this does not populate based off the lineup. This just gives us the team, the 2019 team stats, where they rank in strikeouts, etc. And you can see we've got strikeout rates. We've got their opponent walk rates to see, does this team walk a lot? Now, again, you're going to want to pay attention to the lineups individually, and we have a hitter stat sheet where you can kind of look into stuff like that. We have the opponent WOBAs, opponent ISO. Obviously, what's this? Kershaw has the softest matchup based off ISO and WOBA, but that we already know. We'll get into all that later. Then we got the hitter stats. Same thing. Obviously, we've got different stats because we've got some hitters to talk about. So the batting order will be populated in here. I'll look into why that's not loading up right now. I'm going to have projected lineups in the meantime because I got to have something up there. Otherwise, the cheat sheets and everything would be blank. But as the lineups come in, all these things are going to auto-populate. You're going to see the cheat sheet, which we'll get into, will auto-populate. The projections will give zeros to players who are not in the lineup and give projections to players that are in the lineup. The only thing that'll change on this sheet is the actual batting order. If they're in the lineup or the projected lineup, you'll see a number. If not, you'll see an X or whatever the case is. But you can see we've got the DK price, FanDuel price once again. You can sort by all these columns. One thing I forgot to tell you guys, I don't know if you noticed this second column here, a row, whatever you want to call it. But it's a filter. So say we only wanted to see Let me just grab my keyboard real quick. Shit. Say you wanted to see just the Dodgers hitters, right? If I put LAD into this field, and I'm over here on the team, it'll just show me the Dodger hitters. And right now, it just looks like a bunch of fucking random players. But again, you will see projected batting orders. And when they're confirmed, you will see confirmed batting orders come in here so you kind of know who's in. So you can use these filters. You can really narrow things down. Say we want a guy that's only 4K. So we narrowed it down to, we have a Dodger hitter that's only 4K. You could verify, is he in the lineup? Obviously, it's blank right now. And then kind of look at his stats. So those are cool things that we're excited about. I think the filter's easy enough. I know, some people like buttons and all that shit, and that's fine. But hey, man, I work with what I got, and this is what I got, and I think it's doable for us, right? If I could use it, you guys could use it. And I do plan on using this pretty heavily to do my research. We've got the WOBA overall, as well as the WOBA splits. Maybe there's a guy who's not great, like 340 is like okay for Corey Seager in general. You can see that he's 361 is pretty good, a lot better, right? Against righty. So there's a significant difference between his lefty-righty, and he's playing a righty today, obviously. We've got their fly ball rates, their ISOs, their ISO split. We're going to have hard contact rates for the last 15 days, again, to kind of give you an idea of like who's kind of hot right now. We've got their strikeout rates, and then we have pitcher data as well. So I'm working on getting the hand information. That's not as easy as I thought it was going to be, but I'll figure out a way. In the meantime, you've got the opposing pitcher. And one of the things that's cool about having the opposing pitcher stats is sometimes I like to sort by this. So if I want to see, we've got their WOBAs, righty split. We have their contact data. The color-coded system is like changed to match. You know what I'm saying? So, we go to, hold on. I see a question from Wig. Wig says, are those stats for batters against the team or pitcher they are facing? No. Well, sort of, right? So we have the stats available. So, for instance, Cody Bellinger's playing Johnny Cueto, right? So we can see Johnny Cueto. And then from there, I'm trying to get the hand data so we could also see, okay, Johnny Cueto's a righty, which I'll be working on, hopefully getting that up shortly. And then you come here and you look at what's his overall WOBA. Okay, he's a good hitter. What about against righties? Oh, he's even better against righties, 423. So I just wanted all the data, because not just that, but sometimes people get hung up on the starter, and like I do too. We all do. I'm not saying that I don't do it, but you also have to keep in mind that the bullpen may only have like one other lefty, so there's a good chance he's going to see a lot of righties after. So I think it's beneficial to kind of know if the guy's an overall good hitter, to kind of know, well, how does he do against the other hand, all that kind of stuff. And if there was an instance where a pitcher got late scratch, which does happen and could happen now more than ever because of the COVID situation, a pitcher can get scratched last minute because of COVID now. It's crazy. You may need to quickly see, oh shit, well, is he still good against, they're bringing in a righty instead. Oh shit, well, is he still good against righties, etc. So I decided, I know it is a lot of stuff, but I figured like having more data is better than having less. So it's usable for whatever the case is, but you see what I'm saying, right? You see what I'm saying? Aaron, I see a question, man. I'm gonna get to strategy stuff after I finish with the content stuff. So if I don't fucking remember, remind me, and I will address that. All right? Appreciate you. All right. So again, we have the pitcher information, and you can see what the pitcher's WOBA is versus righties, lefties. Again, to kind of match up. Obviously, we have some pretty good pitchers going today. Cueto just doesn't have a big sample, but he's clearly, you can see by the color coding, he's showing up as the worst one. And then, like I was saying about the sorting, right? And you can also see the pitchers match it up with their last 30 days. So you get the gist. I don't got to go into that a ton. You guys understand what this is. And if you don't understand, if you have questions on what these stats all mean, you could always hit me up in the Slack. For those of you who are in the Slack. And to get in the Slack, you need a monthly membership or higher at ysake.com. Anyway. So with that said, one of the reasons I like to have the pitcher data, aside from matching it up and you needing it, and not having to go back and forth between these two sheets. So this sheet is designed to help you find a pitcher to pick, and you can use this if it's simpler for you to first find a pitcher you want to attack, that's fine. But the sorting capability on the hitter sheet I like is I can sort it. Say I want to sort it by XFIP because I believe that's a more accurate measure of how good or bad a pitcher actually is. If I just want to see from the beginning, all right, gotta click it twice, you got all this dead space, so I'm sorting it by descending, which means the highest number first. If you see the blanks, you just got to click it again to sort by a different way. Because the default is to sort like in order of like lowest to highest. So I click it again, then it gives me highest to lowest. So now I can see the pitcher with the highest XFIP on a slate. And it's green, which means it's good for hitting because we're on a hitter stat sheet. And this is Johnny Cueto, right? As we expected. So on a small slate like this, maybe you don't really need to do that because you could see there's only 2 games. But on a larger slate like tomorrow where there's like 11, you may want to sort by this and kind of go through, okay, what are some of the, who are the worst pitchers here? The sorting kind of helps. As long as the numbers are different, you can see you got some stuff to work with. But then it looks like the next best or the next worst is Kershaw. And I mean, I say next worst. He's got a 3.5 xFIP, which obviously is not bad. That's why it's in red. But there's a lot of good pitchers on this slate. So you can sort by any one of these columns. You've got filters, so you can get creative and filter by whatever you want. You just got to type in what it is that you're trying to see. And I think it's something that could really help all of us do our research. So some of you do have more time, and I know in the past we had a lot more data-centric stuff, and I know a lot of you have enjoyed doing your own research. So I'm trying to bring it so you could do it here again, because it's important, right? These are the stats that I'm using these. I have these sheets I mainly created for myself to use, and then I thought, man, is there a way I can possibly get this on the site for the nation? Because I just love the nation so damn much, and y'all know that. So this is what we came up with. What I came up with. Holla. Act like I got help. Shit. So that's the hitter stat sheets, pitcher stat sheets. And I showed you guys where to get them, right? The MLB section, come here, you can see it up top. I maybe in the future I'll try to organize the menu a little better. It's kind of a lot of things getting thrown at you. I realize that I may, but right now I'm concerned about the actual content. So y'all just work with me and figure out how to fucking get on there. You know what I'm saying? But if you have a question, seriously, guys, hit me up in the Slack or even on Twitter, man. I'm always waiting for the nation to hit me up. I just love to communicate. So the projections, very similar to what we had for basketball. I decided to keep it this format. If you notice, it's not all elaborate like this. Number one, the projections are mainly here for those of you who do MME, or you just want to see, based off the numbers we have all together, what calculation a pitcher may have had or a hitter may have had. But the main purpose of these is to upload into an optimizer for those of you that use those. You can download them by clicking CSV. It'll download a CSV. If you just want to look at them, you can. If you're on the phone, you click PDF, and it'll be easier for you to read on the phone. But these are Excel. These are projections. When I do MME teams, and I do plan on doing some MME. I plan on doing a little bit of both. I plan on doing some MME and also going back to having a few main teams and all that, just to make sure that my delivery on the content is more direct. So when I have this, you simply download it. You just copy and paste player name projection once it's in your Excel or whatever it is you're using, and just upload it into the optimizer, and you have the Wise Take Nation projections here. Now, again, these automatically update as the lineups come in. Players that are not in the lineup, like David Freese, for instance, who I don't even know if he's on the team anymore. Anyway, will have a 0 because he's not in the lineup. And players that are in the lineup will have a projection. Now, we start off with projected because we have to start off with something, right? Otherwise, we won't have nobody in here. We start off with the projected, and as the lineups come in, they'll automatically update. We have these for FanDuel and Draft. So the hitter stat sheet, pitcher stat sheet, you only need one for both sites. For the projections and the cheat sheets and the stack rankings, which we'll get into, we have one for DraftKings and we have one for FanDuel separately because the pricing and all that shit. And the scoring is a little bit different. Next, the stack rankings tool. This is something that I developed when we were doing League of Legends and KBO stuff. If you notice, these are all sortable. I'm going to change the color coding when we have on tomorrow's slate. I'm going to have a color code the actual projection, the actual cost, and the actual point per dollar, just so we can. I think that's a better way to go about it rather than rankings. For the KBO, it's kind of easy to do it this way because there's only 10 teams and they just play each other all the time. So it's there's always 10 games. There's always 10 teams playing. There's always, you know what I'm saying? So it's just easier to do this way. But for this, we're going to color code the actual points, costs, and point per dollar. I'll do that tomorrow. Just waiting to kick out any bugs. But basically, based off our projections, what team projects with the highest points? It's the Dodgers. If you don't like to look at the points, you can look at the ranking. So they're first in points, right? So you could use this to be like, okay, either that means the Dodgers are in a really good spot, which on this slate they're probably in the best spot when you consider starting pitcher matchups. But that also probably means that they're going to be the most popular, because if they project high for us, they're probably going to project high for a lot of people also, at least to a degree. So there's different ways you can use these tools. You can get creative. They're not necessarily a one-size-fits-all. Let's talk about cost. The Dodgers are also the most expensive team on DraftKings. And again, we have one for FanDuel separately. This one's for DraftKings. The Giants are the cheapest team. All things that are worth noting, right, when it comes to stacking. Now, listen, when you're stacking, you're only picking 4 or 5 of the teams. This is for all 9 guys. But still, just to give you a general idea of like, if you're gonna say, okay, you know what, I like the Yankees because they're not as high as the Dodgers. I mean, I don't think they'll be as popular as the Dodgers. And they have the second highest projected point total on the board. If that's the method that you're thinking to roll with, then okay, 65 total. So I need to split that up and figure out how to maximize that. What 4 or 5 guys are going to give me the most of that? And obviously, you're hoping they exceed that, right? And then we have point per dollar as a team who's just projecting better than their pricing. And right now, it looks like it's still the Dodgers, right? Because their costs isn't that drastically ahead of some of these other guys, and their projected points are. So they're projecting to be the top stack, which again will tell you that they're going to be popular, right? But anyway, use these tools however you see fit. Like I said, I'm going to change the color coding up because if I have it on a set number, I think it'd be cool. Maybe 99 looks like a lot on this slate, but maybe it's not actually a lot. So I think when we have a bigger sample, I'll be able to color code that more efficiently. You know what I'm saying? Next tool are the cheat sheets. So you guys are familiar with the cheat sheets. In NBA, we had a format like this. These are real quick based off projection. Based off our projections, we've got it broken into dollar amounts. And I like to use these. Number one, you can use them as kind of rankings at each tier. But number two, for some of you that have work during the day or whatever, or you're just busy, you got family shit, whatever going on, and you don't have a ton of time to research, you can kind of come here and just kind of look. And these are the guys in the order that are on a projection basis rank the best. And our projections incorporate pitcher matchup, they incorporate league average versus what they're going to see, all that kind of stuff, right? So obviously Garrett Cole's the only high-end pitcher. If you're going to the mid-tier, Clayton Kershaw actually projects higher for us than Max Scherzer. You don't have to necessarily blindly follow. You can go to the stat sheet if you have the time and research yourself and maybe see why. But regardless, one thing I will say is you'll notice that the hitters, they're just whoever the top is. We do recommend stacking here. So if there's a hitter you fall in love with, like you see Max Muncy, he's like, oh man, you know what? I like Max Muncy. He's projecting as the top second baseman and first baseman. I'm going to grab this dude. Then make a decision on and try to pick some of his teammates that are up here. You can see Justin Turner's up here, Corey Seager's up here. Identify some of his teammates and play him with them. So it's up there, and it's just telling you basic line who the top hitters at these things are. But again, you're going to want to incorporate stacking into the mix. But still, just something to kind of give you a player pool to kind of pick from of the guys that project the best and in order of which they project. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? And again, this will be more filled out on a full slate. Right now, we've got 2 games to work with, and it's still relatively filled out. Okay. So that's the content, right? That's the content for 2020 MLB. We'll do another one of these for basketball next week. I know it's already been 28 minutes, and the new guys are going to be like, the people that aren't subscribed are going to be like, man, what the fuck we just went over all that for? But we'll get into a little bit of the baseball stuff. Not too much because we're going to do a live stream later, and we're still waiting on lineups. We still got some research you want to do. I know Garrett Cole, for instance, they've said he's going to be on a pitch count of around 90 pitches. But let's start with the pitching. So again, this data is from last year. Garrett Cole's on the Yankees. He's playing Washington. We have some weather in that game, by the way. I think it's light rain, but we're going to want to pay attention to that anyway. So going through the stats, Garrett Cole's stats are elite, as you would expect. One, if you're looking for a reason to fade him, it looks like you can make an. It's really tough to even make an argument for it. He's got from last year. He's got the best hard contact numbers. His medium contact was high, so there is a path, right? He's a big time fly ball guy, and it's been warm. But again, if there's rain in the area, I think it's been raining in the Northeast. I'm in Jersey. It's been raining in the Northeast the last couple of days, and so I don't know. You tell me. But it's a hard argument to make. I mean, it looks good. I think that I'm more likely to pitch a guy like Cole. Now, what that means, being that we're expecting to be popular, is that Washington is going to be extremely low owned. I'm just not thrilled with Washington, and maybe that's a mistake. We have to analyze their lineup later. But I know they lost Rendon, right? That can't help, right? But so Garrett Cole is one of the chalky options that I plan on going with. The hitting is where things get different, and you can make the same argument for Scherzer. I think Clayton Kershaw will be pretty popular just because he's cheap and he's playing the Giants, who are the worst team on the slate. Kershaw's numbers from last year are pretty solid, but not as elite, I think, as Cole and Scherzer. Like at one time he would have been. He's got the best matchup on paper, so that's another identifying metric for me that he's going to be chalk. So I think Cole and Scherzer will be pretty popular. I prefer to go with Cole. He's just in better form, even with the 90 pitches. And I think that if Kershaw is going to be this popular, maybe is there any situation where we could maybe benefit it? Are the Giants worth stacking at all? Let's take a look at the hitter stat sheet real quick. Pull up some of these Giants. Now, I wish this thing was pulling. Like I said, I'm gonna fix the batting order thing so we get the batting order. At least we could at least see who's projected in there. I'll fix that. But in the meantime, let's take a look at some of these guys. So Wilmer Flores, we know, right, is a lefty masher. Look, WOBA against righty, 329. WOBA against lefty, 405. Right? That's pretty groovy. He's on the Giants now. How about that? Just realized that. If you guys remember, I feel like Kershaw at one time was having difficulty with lefties. Like all of a sudden, we became like a reverse splits type of dude. Let's look at his WOBA. I mean, nah, it wasn't as bad last year, I guess. It just wasn't that different against righties. Hard contact, 42%. Kershaw has one of the better ground ball rate numbers on the slate last year. How does Flores do? What are his numbers like? Well, that's one thing about Flores. He is a fly ball guy. You know, something to keep in mind. So again, just like using this to kind of look for anything. Does not strike out a lot. That's one thing about Flores. Even when he was with the Mets, he did not strike out a lot. A 10.9% strikeout rate. Obviously, Kershaw's numbers aren't great, but we have a 2-game slate. We're going to have to do something uncomfortable to get different because we expect the Dodgers to be popular. Oh, Aaron had a question. What do you think about pitching Scherzer on FanDuel and doing a 4-4 stack with the game that won't get rained out? Well, there's only 2 games. So if you're going to pitch Scherzer, then I would assume that you don't think that game's – oh, I see. Well, the Washington game is a game with the rain, right? So if you think that game's going to rain out, then you don't want to pitch Scherzer, right? Like, because that game's going to rain, you're going to zero from your pitcher. Like, if there's a 2-game slate and one game got rained out, first of all, I would hope DraftKings and FanDuel would just say fuck it and just refund everybody the money like they did for KBO. But if not, then I would rather have something from the pitcher. I mean, I guess it's a possibility. Like, imagine both pitchers in that Giant game like got rocked and they had negatives, and if you would have just taken a 0 from Scherzer, you would have been fine. I guess that is a scenario, right? Like a crazy one. But yeah, I mean, doing a 4-man stack, 4-4 of the game that won't get rained out. Yeah, on FanDuel, I think you're gonna see like Cole as the chalk and a 4-4. Excuse me. Didn't want to sneeze in your ear. Had to mute it. But yeah, I think you'll see some 4-4s of this game specifically. I mean, I do think that people on FanDuel are more likely to play the Giants because, number one, they're going to need their value to get Garrett Cole in there. And number two, since they're not really pitching Scherzer, they may decide when they look at it from that basis, who would I rather attack of the 4? I know Cueto is one with the Dodgers. I guess Kershaw is a lesser of the 3 evils between Garrett Cole and Max Scherzer. So the super contrarian way is going to be to get offense is to grab exposure to at least one of those offenses in that game. The Nationals bullpen, we know for years, has been awful. Yankees have always had a good bullpen. We expect Cole to get pulled after 90 pitches. So I think I would lean more towards the Yankees, believe it or not, and picking an offense from there. I guess it's not that crazy because Garrett Cole is just a beast. But number one, Max Scherzer is home run prone. And Max Scherzer, if we look... matter of fact, I'm just going to filter or use the filters, right? So Max Scherzer, a 321 WOBA against lefties. His hard contact rate was above 35 overall. He's a big-time fly ball guy. So depending on what lefties you see from the Yankees, not to mention the Yankees stats as a team last year, 346 WOBA, 222 ISO, pretty good. What we could do, there we go, Yankees. You got some of the, again, it depends on who's in the lineup, but if we get any lefties, maybe Aaron Hicks or whoever, I don't even know if he's hurt or whatever. Anyway, I'm just winging this, bro. The whole point of this was to kind of get you guys rolling, talk about the new content, and then we'll dig in after this. There will be an article. One thing I didn't go over, there will still be an article. Monday through Friday, there'll be an article. The rest of this content, the projections, all this shit, there will be 7 days a week. Everything I just showed you on the screen, 7 days a week. The article right now, we're probably going to do 5 days a week. As a bonus, we may do them on the weekends, but it's mainly... You know. I'm seeing some of y'all pop in. Yeah, explain that. What's going on? Good to see y'all. Let's do it. Let's do it dirty. Yes, sir. Do it dirty. Hingo says a slate would have to be canceled if there was a rain out on a 2-game slate. I would agree. Wig says no Chapman tonight. COVID and Betances to the Mets. Yes, Betances on the Mets. Not the good pen from last year, Wig says. A good point, Wig. That's a good point. We'll have to do some digging. For those of you who remember that I got a dog before the show, that's him. He's big as hell now. That's a thing. But anyway, so again, if we're looking to attack Scherzer, we're going to want to do it with lefties. Clint Frazier has been awesome, by the way. It's just a side note. Clint Frazier has been awesome. And if you look at Clint Frazier, 294 WOBA against righties, 346 against lefties. And to Wig's point, if Garrett Cole's going to get pulled at 90 pitches, there is the potential of that bullpen coming in somewhat early if the Nationals are at least scrappy. So there's avenues. There's definitely avenues. Just know that right now I think the chalk is the Dodgers for sure. And I think Garrett Cole is priority number one for people. And then I think on DraftKings, I think we could see I think the sharper people, like in cash, are going to go like Cole and Scherzer and just find a way to make it work. But I think that maybe other people might get a little frustrated trying to make that work salary-wise and just decide to go down to Kershaw. It's a possibility. But I do expect most people are going to be looking to take the pitching from the Washington game and the Yankee game, and then looking to take the bats from the Dodger game and Giant game. So in cash games, that's your format. In tournaments, find a way to get different. It's not necessarily fading all the chalk. It's fading the right one. So maybe Cole was the right chalk, but the Dodgers bats wasn't. Or maybe Cole was the right one, but Scherzer wasn't. Maybe the Dodger stack was right. You got to get creative with the pitching that day. So those are the kind of things that we need to incorporate to improve, right? Anyway, Nation, that's going to do it, I think, for this round. We'll be back at 6 p.m. I'll be in the Slack a little bit to talk some stuff with you guys. I'm going to dig in and see what I can find. I'm trying to fix the batting order thing, so I'm working on that. Maybe I can incorporate handedness for the hitters. That's not going to be today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But I'm always looking to improve it. Any suggestions are always welcome. If I can make it work, if I think I can make it happen, I'll tell you. If not, I'll be like, hey, man, that's just not something I could do. And again, these numbers are from 2019, so they got like Andujar who barely played. These things will change as the season goes on. We'll have more data and incorporate it from 2020. But with that said, man, it was good talking to y'all. I look forward to talking to y'all later once again for the MLBY stream. We got a busy day today. We got a NASCAR stream before that. All the tools are up there. Like I said, you can always look at their pages to go look at them. But I will also be making posts of some of these just to remind people that they're there. And I'm sure there's going to be, I'll be going over this a few different times because obviously, people need reminders. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Very excited that we have baseball back. Very excited for NBA. The NBA, we don't have the stack ranking stuff. You don't really stack in NBA, so we don't have that kind of stuff. But we will have the automated cheat sheets. I made improvements to the projections. And I will try to have some sort of stat sheet for NBA as well. So very excited for that. So appreciate y'all. Hit the like button. If you want access to these tools, they're all available at whitestate.com. The Slack chat access is for monthly members or higher, but if we do have day passes available, if you just want to use the content for a day, we have week passes available. You don't get Slack chat, but you get access to all the actual MLB content, the tools, and whatever article is written for the day. So with that said, Nation, I'm gonna get out of here. Good talking to y'all. Good seeing y'all. Hopefully you guys are happy, healthy, and everything else in a really crazy time in the world. But for myself, the entire White Steak Nation, please hit the like button if you haven't already. And as always, good luck. Yeah.